Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely massive. We are looking at the true architects of our imaginations and counting down the top 10 best-selling authors in human history. And seriously, the sheer scale of the numbers we're going to be looking at today, it is mind-blowing. Just to tease you a little bit, one of the legends on our list today actually sold an estimated 2 billion copies of her work. 2 billion. And the best part, she wrote her very first novel basically just to win a bet with her sister. If you think that's wild, just wait until you see who grabbed the #1 spot. Now, before we actually jump into the top 10, let's just make sure we're on the same page about what we're measuring here. Because best-selling and best aren't always the exact same thing, right? We're strictly looking at pure commercial dominance here. Through estimated all-time historical sales, we're talking fiction. So no, this is not a measure of critical acclaim or, literary prestige. It's just raw numbers. The writers whose books sold in the highest volumes ever recorded by publishers and groups like Guinness World Records. Oh, and a quick heads up, one author on our list didn't even write novels, but their work has been printed in such unbelievable quantities that leaving them off would literally make this whole list dishonest.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, Masters of Suspense. This covers numbers 10 through 8 on our list.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the one and only Stephen King. He is the undisputed architect of modern thrills. 400 million. Let that sink in. That is the estimated number of copies he's sold since his debut, Carrie, dropped back in 1974. With over 60 novels, including massive hits like The Shining and It, King proved that horror wasn't just, niche pulp fiction. It could be an absolute commercial juggernaut. So what's his secret sauce? Why do we keep coming back for more? Well, it's actually because the scares are kind of secondary. He focuses on deeply flawed, super relatable, ordinary characters. We keep turning the pages because we genuinely care about the people the monster is chasing.
And this brilliantly illustrates the completely different ways our next two suspense titans built their empires. At number 9, we've got Sidney Sheldon, sitting in an estimated 300 to 400 million sales. Get this, Sheldon didn't even start writing books until he was in his 50s. He was already a hugely successful Hollywood screenwriter with an Oscar, a Tony, and an Emmy under his belt. He basically took that exact Hollywood pacing, the short chapters, the constant twists, the crazy cliffhangers, and injected it right into his late-in-life novels like Master of the Game. Now compare that to number 8, James Patterson, who is sitting pretty at an estimated 425 million copies. Patterson achieved this insane volume by operating almost like a TV showrunner. He creates these super detailed outlines and then teams up with co-authors to pump out books at a blistering pace. We're talking sometimes over a dozen titles a year. It's literally a content factory that keeps his name constantly on the bestseller lists.
Moving right along to Section 2, Shaping Childhoods. Let's look at numbers 7 through 5.
We're shifting gears here from late-night thrills to the absolute bedrock of our reading habits. These are the folks who shaped childhoods all over the globe across multiple generations. And man, the sales figures here are totally neck and neck. At number 7, British author Enid Blyton with 600 million sales. By churning out thousands of words a day, she basically invented the template for kids' adventure stories. The unsupervised summer escapades and kids solving mysteries. Right there next to her at number 6, also with an estimated 600 million sales, is J.K. Rowling. Her boy wizard literally defined a whole generation and had kids camping out at midnight just to get a book. And just edging them both out at number 5, with an incredible 650 million sales, is the absolute legend, Dr. Seuss.
But real quick, before we zoom in on Dr. Seuss, I want you to think about this for a second. 12 publishers, 12 different publishing houses looked at the manuscript for Harry Potter and passed on it, rejected. Before she ever hit that staggering 600 million sales mark, J.K. Rowling was a single mother on state benefits, facing constant soul-crushing rejection. It's just the ultimate reminder that in publishing, and well, really in anything, the biggest, most monumental wins, they are rarely instant. You gotta push through a whole lot of no's to finally get to the yes that changes everything.
So the crucial point here is that sometimes the greatest success actually comes from the most difficult constraints. Take a look at this number. 236. This is the fascinating limitation behind our number 5 author, Dr. Seuss. When he was writing The Cat in the Hat, a publisher challenged him to write an engaging alternative to those super boring school reading primers. But the catch? He was only allowed to use 236 unique, simple words. I mean, that is an incredibly tough box to work inside of, but he totally proved that writing simply is often way harder, and honestly infinitely more powerful, than writing complexly. That single constraint completely reshaped how children's early reader books were written for the rest of the century.
All right, we are breaking into the top 4 now. Section 3, the Romance Queens. This is numbers 4 and 3.
Look, if you want to talk about relentless work ethics, you have to look at these two authors. Their sheer output is, well, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. At number 4, we've got Danielle Steele. She has published over 190 books. And get this, she has spent more time on the New York Times bestseller list than any other living author. Period. How does she do it? Brutal 20-hour typing binges on a 1946 antique typewriter. Her discipline is just off the charts, and it pushed her to an estimated 800 million sales. But then, we look at number 3, Barbara Cartland. She published over 700 books. Her secret? She dictated her gentle historical romances out loud to a team of secretaries. This crazy method let her publish a new book roughly every 2 weeks, and she kept that pace up well into her 90s. Her sales are so massive that the estimates actually range anywhere from 750 million to a staggering 1 billion copies.
And here we are, the final section, the billion-copy titans, numbers 2 and 1. The suspense is over, guys. We are finally crossing that unbelievable 10-digit threshold to reveal the undisputed rulers of literature. 2 billion copies. Just let that marinate for a second. Coming in at number 2, officially recognized by Guinness World Records as the best-selling novelist in human history, is the absolute genius Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie basically built the modern murder mystery genre from the ground up across 66 definitive detective novels. She gave the world iconic characters like Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. And hey, remember that little tease from the very beginning of The Explainer? Yeah, she wrote her very first novel almost entirely just to win a bet with her sister, who apparently didn't think Agatha could write a good detective story. Well, 2 billion copies later, I think it's pretty safe to say she won the bet. On top of that, she is the most translated individual author in history. Her work is out there in over 100 languages. That kind of linguistic reach is usually reserved for global institutions like the Bible.
Now hold on a second. Christie is the best-selling novelist of all time, but we are looking for the best-selling author. So what if the person sitting pretty at number 1 didn't even write books that were meant to be read? What if our ultimate literary titan wrote entirely for the stage?
You guessed it, our number 1 author is, of course, William Shakespeare. But wait, how on earth does a playwright top a list of book sales? Well, think about it like this. When you look at a modern novelist, their sales are usually driven by big marketing campaigns, movie adaptations, highly devoted modern fan bases. Shakespeare's sales? They're driven by something entirely different. 400 years of continuous global education. Across his 39 plays and 154 sonnets, his work basically became the mandatory foundation for English education all over the world. He doesn't need a PR team or a marketing campaign. He has literally required reading for pretty much every English-speaking student on the planet.
Because of those 4 centuries of non-stop continuous printing, the high-end estimate for Shakespeare's circulation sits at an astronomical 4 billion copies. 4 billion! Now, obviously, tracking centuries of scattered global printing is, well, it's incredibly difficult, so the estimates do range from 2 to 4 billion. But honestly, even at the absolute most conservative end of that spectrum, his raw volume simply dwarfs every other writer in the history of the world. So by every available metric of printed copies, William Shakespeare is for sure the best-selling author in history.
Man, what an incredible journey through the heights of human imagination. We've really seen so many diverse paths to a lasting legacy today, haven't we? From James Patterson's massive co-authoring content factory to Dr. Seuss's brilliant self-imposed constraints, all the way to Danielle Steele's marathon typing sessions. Every single one of these titans found a totally unique way to capture the attention of hundreds of millions and even billions of readers. But now it's time to bring it back to you. Go take a look at your own collection right now. Which of these legendary authors have you personally read? Which of their worlds have you escaped into? Think about it, because at the end of the day, the books we choose to keep on our shelves tell the story of who we are. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep turning those pages.
So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, leave a comment below, and consider subscribing. And share this video with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.